Welcome to part 2, the wings. Now, due to work commitments, I'm going to have to do this over a couple of days and edit it together, so you may get some very poor editing. Now, we're going to start this with the trailing edge, which is a 1/4 inch wide. And it tells you here 1/4 inch by 1/16. And what I want you to do is get yourself a ruler, a pencil or a pen. But before that, make sure you put some cling film over your plan or some plastic you can see through. Okay, and you see this line here. I want you to get your ruler and extend that line. Okay, and there's a reason for that. So you extend that line over there. It's because you'll be able to see it clearly. And lay that 1/4 inch over the top, like that. Then what I do, I pin it down like that, and then I lay the ruler across, pin it both sides, you get absolutely smack on where you want it, then draw that line, okay, and then you cut it. You'll end up with that trailing edge there, okay. Then you flip the wood over, and then you do the opposite. Okay, you'll end up with that piece there, and that piece goes onto that piece like that. Okay, now don't glue it together just yet, because what you've got to do, make sure it's all pinned down. So I'm going to pin this down now. Okay, try and keep my hands out of the way if I can. Right, using your pins is important because it just keeps it where you want to keep it. And then what you do, take your ruler, because you've got to notch these out to take the rib. So what you do, you go along the line there, just one of the edges with a pencil preferably. I've just got a pen edge to show you. Mark it, move it across to 1/16 of an inch, and mark the other side. And then you know where the notches have got to go, and just repeat that along the wood. In this case, you've got 3. 1, 2, and 3 here. Okay. And once you've shaped the other piece, you've got to do the same again. So you've got to pin it down and mark out where the notches have got to go. Okay. Now, you won't know the exact depth of those notches just yet. So what you do, you get your trailing edge, you put that onto the plan, and for convenience you mark up where the front edge of the rib will go. Okay, every single case. And then what you want to do now is what you did earlier. See this line here? Extend that line with either a pencil or a pen. Okay, so you can see past it, because you've got the wood over it, you can't see it. Okay, so you get your 3/16 by 1/16. Okay, so you take your 3/16, and what you do, you lay it on. You want it longer than what just make sure it's longer, and then you lay your ruler over it. Okay, because it'll be sticking out like this. Past it, lay your ruler over it, pin it down, draw a line. That will then give you that cut there. Yeah, there's a lot of angles in this. Okay, and once you've completed that and you're happy with it, you can then pin this down, and you want to get it as exact as you can within your abilities. Okay, now stick a pin through. Now, you also want to be aware there's a slight angle here. So you've got this angle here and this angle here. So make sure that cut line's correct with that, because you've got to put the wingtip on next after that. Well, towards the end anyway. So I'm just going to get off my chair, grab another pin. Make sure it's absolutely spot on the line. Okay, bending the needle now, going in. Okay, so you should have something looking like that. Okay, so now you're going to want to glue this. Now the thing is, I could use CA, but CA goes off very, very quickly, and if I haven't got it quite in the right place by the time it's gone off, I'm going to have to break it to make it fit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some of the supplied glue, Easy Sandwood glue from the Vintage Model Company. Okay, and I'm going to put some glue on there, and I need to know that it's just past that notch. Okay, put some glue on. So you're actually doing the underside. Okay, that's probably a little bit excessive, so just take a little bit off with my finger. Okay, can always double it up later with a bit of CA if we need to. Then offer that up, because you don't want this to go off straight away. Okay, make sure it's absolutely where you want it to be, and then grab a pin, put it to the board. Okay, like that. Take off any excess glue off your fingers. Make sure that's touching. Okay, and then put another pin in. Now you want to select where you want to put your pin in, because what we want to do is put something heavy on there, like that. So glues flat. Now, when it comes to the depth of the notches, this is where, if you prepared your ribs, so we need rib number 5 in this case, it's just for show. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to lay rib 5 on. Notice there's a little notch there, yeah? That goes on the leading edge. You lay that on top, and it should be an exact fit. Look at that. Exact fit. This now allows you to get your pencil, mark the end of the rib. Take your rib away. You now know where you've got to cut to get that rib in, to make it fit as exactly as you can make it fit. And you can see that will go in absolutely snugly. So that's what you're going to end up with. But don't glue anything just yet. Now what you want to do is copy, using a bit of blue copy paper, this shape here, and then make a cardboard replica. And then what you want to do, now they don't give you all of the wood, some of it you have to have yourself. Okay, and I've got a box full of scrap wood, so it's not a big deal for me. And I know that, and I'll show you with my ruler. I know where to put my ruler down. There it is. In millimeters, that's 3mm. Okay. In old money, it's 2/8. Okay. And what you do, you just hold it up to there like that, and make sure it is the right thickness before you cut anything. Take your piece of cardboard and get your straightest edge and flattest edge that you can. I think I'll choose that side. Let's have a look. Yeah. Okay. Now this is where having a really sharp pencil comes in handy, and I have an architect's pencil. Now you can get these really sharp. You just get a bit of glass paper and just rub it like that, and that goes really sharp, and you just draw around it. Like that. Okay, and then just roughly cut it out. Where I put my knife, got a little magnetic holder here for knives. I'll just move this along a little bit. I don't normally cut this sort of stuff on my board, but just for the video. So what you can do now, because you're going with the grain, just go across like that. Okay, and then what you can do is just take off the edges. Okay, and then what you do, you just shape that up with some glass paper. Don't try and cut it right to the edge. You would be very lucky if you got it right first time. Okay, now all that scrap, so get rid of that. Okay, I'll just grab some glass. Let's get some rough, just to get the sort of shape. I don't know whether I can show you properly on this, but just to get the sort of the shape you want. This is I think it's 250 grit. Just go around. Okay, like that. You'll see now the shapes is coming to how you want it. Okay, so you got that. Now this is a 400 grit, and you just do the same again. I'm right-handed, so I apologise. This is the same again, and you just keep going around. Don't just pick on one place and do that. Just go around, and eventually they go right on that pencil mark. Yeah. And when you got it to shape, it doesn't take long. Right? You can then offer that up. Okay, you can see it's slightly bigger. That doesn't matter, because when you come to glue everything in, you now got to shape that while it's in place, while it's glued on. All right, so now that's ready. Okay, the reason you do that is because you can now sand that to the shape of that rib, that last rib R7. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that glue set, and I'm going to come back this tomorrow. So I'm going to edit it now, and that glue will be dried, and then I'll be able to give you a proper look at what we're doing. Okay, so I'll see you in half a second or so, for maybe 24 hours. Cheerio. Okay, it's the next day, and we have some daylight, which is good. So we've now pinned down the trailing edge and the leading edge. There's a little bit of crap there, let's get that out. The tweezers, there you go. Right, so now you need to start putting in the ribs. It's very important the leading edge and trailing edge is absolutely as flat as you can get it. Okay, If it means putting a block on them like that, then do it. Now, if you do have a block, or if you have a 90 degrees tool like this, then that's fine, you can use that. It's just to get the ribs absolutely upright, depending on how far you want to go with it. So anyway, now I'm just going to demonstrate with R5 here. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. Now, I wouldn't normally always do it this way, because I'm going to show you something in a minute, okay, that can help you, especially if you've got a lot of ribs to put in. So I'll put the tail end in first, and then go to the leading edge, and that fits in snugly. Offer up the block, which is 90 degrees on. Just press my finger against it, and I know that that will dry in absolutely upright, 90 degrees. Okay, now let me just pause for a second while I go and show you what I was going to show you, because I've only just thought about showing it you. How about that for a poem? Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. A lot of model makers, we use these, are called rocket glue tips, and as you can see, you just put them on the end of the glue bottle there, and they will give you a precision gluing, if you like. I can't think of a better word in English. Glue with precision. I'm just not using it right now because that's nearly empty, and I have a new one, okay, but I don't want to open that up just yet. So that's the only reason I'm not using that right now. So that one should now be dry. So pull that away. It's come out absolutely flat. Now, the best way of putting these ribs in on this particular model is start from the outside tip and work your way towards the fuselage, because if you go the other way, you're running out of space to put your block in. And I must remind you that the R1 has to go in at a slight angle, and I'll come to that in a minute. Okay, so if we just carry on with R4, and again, just double check this, that it will fit before you put it in. Yes, it will. And it's the bottom of the rib is hitting the top of the paper, which is fine. So we just use this little last bit of glue up. Take off a little bit. You don't want too much glue on it. Okay, enough of that in. When you're happy with it, okay, you just put your block up against it, like so, and then just push it to the block, and that will be absolutely upright. And there you go. Okay, and I'll let that go off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the R3 and R2 in, and I'll come straight back to you. Right then, now a word of caution when it comes to rib 1, R1. Now you'll notice there's an X here in this shape, and I've cut out the cardboard cutout for that, and picking it up is sometimes problematic, so we just stab it, and there you go. Oh, right. So what this is for, you'll see there's a slight angle there, which you must copy. So when you come to glue this in, okay, this needs to be slightly this way. This is because when the wing is tipped up to the correct dihedral, this will then mate to the fuselage, and that's its purpose. So that's very important. I'm just telling you now. Okay, now don't worry about this little triangle just yet. We want to get the ribbing first. This is just here just to strengthen that wing root. So if you hear the term wing root, this is what it's on about. This is the root of the wing. Okay, so we'll put a little dab of glue on there, only one side on here because there's nothing on that side. Okay, and we'll sit that in, tail end first, and get it nice and straight. Okay, making sure that it seats comfortably. And now we'll grab our cardboard. I might have to stab it again. There you go. Oh. Stabby, stabby. And offer that up. So that goes ever so slightly towards the wingtip. And then just hold it in place until you're confident that that glue has gone off. Okay, so I'll just cut it there for a second. Right, so that's gone off now, and we need to start putting some stringers in. Now, again, a word of caution, when you bring these out, give them a quick sand, because where the laser's cut through, you just got burnt wood basically. Just give it a light sanding. Now, also the second word of caution is this end here needs to come out of the rib by about 5 mil, or just under 1/4 of an inch. So you want to cut it to length, so you've got enough there. And if it's over length, you can just shorten it down if you need to. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is very quickly, if I can just get some more glue out of this. As I said, normally I'd use that. Just it's just come out in the rush there. So I'm doing it off camera. I just got some scrap paper. That's not good. So there you go. Just put a little dab on. It's too much glue. This is why I should be using that little tool. And never mind. So starting at the wingtip, get that in. Just ease it into the next one and the next one and the next one, because you'll see there's a slight bend. Okay, there you go. And that one goes in like so. There you are. Of course, you can sand that flush if you need to. And I'll just check that angle again. Okay, that seems to be fine. There you go. That's spot on, that is, absolutely spot on. And then all you got to do is just make sure it's absolutely seated nice and comfy. And let that go off. I've obviously put too much on. I think I'll have to put one of those little caps on. I don't want to do that again. And then I'll put the next one in, and then we'll flip it over, put the ones in the bottom. Now, you will have to put this infill for the Duomo engine underneath. Don't put it in yet. That goes in almost last. Okay, so we'll do that, and I'll get these stringers in. Right, jumped a little bit ahead because I'm conscious of how much time this is taking now. So we put in the bottom spar first before we put this infill in. Okay, that's quite important there. Put this in first, because when you come to offer it up, you've got to make a gap there for that spar. Okay, and then what you do, you place it flat on the table, you push it in, nice clean fit, and you'll notice I put this little tip thing on now. And you just go around the edges, okay, and glue that in and lay it flat on the board, and that will come absolutely flat to the bottom of the rib, okay. And then you can just lightly sand that, okay. So now your rib's in, your infill is in for the top end of the Duomo engine, and now you can add that little corner piece there to strengthen up that joint on the wing. Okay, it might take a couple of attempts to get that in, but it will go in, I promise you. And I promise you, you're going to drop it off a dozen times before you do it. Now, the one bit you may miss on this drawing, and it's quite easy to miss, you'll find that, I'm just trying to find the reference now. Here we are. So 132 sheet webbing between top and bottom spars from R1 to R7 on both wings, vertical grain. So what they're saying is this is actually 132 ply. you can use 132 hard balsa. And this, once you've shaped, cut it out to the correct width and length, it's got to go in there like that. Okay, and you do between each ribs all the way along, okay, including this one, all the way along, and it gives you half of a box section basically, and that gives that wing a lot of strength. Now they're saying put the grain going from top to bottom, so if you can see there, that grain going from top to bottom, and you glue that in on each and every single one. Okay, so I'm going to do that now, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. And then I think it's just the wingtip and the engine. Okay, so when you've got all these pieces in individually, and it's not a quick thing because obviously the grains go in the opposite way to what you will probably naturally want to do, but that's what it looks like. It's all the way down to the wingtip. Now, talking about wingtips, I've glued the wingtip on just to save a little bit of time. And what we're going to do, I'm going to take some, I think this is 250. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to shape it round, okay? And you just take your time, shape it round, okay? Because this process does not actually take very long. And go with the grain, okay? Eventually, it'll come into shape. All right. There you go. So it doesn't take very long at all. Yeah. That's rounded there. Let's check it against the cardboard. If I can pick it up. Okay. Look at that. Probably needs half a mil. So I'll use a finer if I can find it. What have I done with it? Put it down, can't find it. Oh, this is so infuriating. Give me a second. There we are, got some 400, okay? It's your favourite colour, isn't it? So, take it round now. Finish that off. It only takes a few seconds now. Try and do it as evenly as you can. Okay. Yeah, it's looking nice, that is. Let's try it from the bottom. Got my cardboard. Oop. Tell you what, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Probably needs a little bit there, if anything at all. Okay, and that will be a mirror image of the other wing. Okay, take that off there. Now I've got to do this shape here. Okay, so I'm going to stay with the 400 because I don't want to go mad. Start on the trailing edge. Okay, won't take long at all. The reason I'm letting the camera run is to show you how quickly you can do this, because the grain is going from the front to the back. Okay, and we're going with the grain. And that, oh, that's close. And that is now taking the shape of that rib. Do you see that? So what I would do, just to finish that off, get a bit of 1500. This is 1500. And let's go around. And you're basically, what you're doing with this is you're polishing it, in effect. Put a bit of a polish on it. Okay. Yes, you are taking wood off, but it's almost like a polish. This is obviously soft balsa. Okay. Look at that. Absolutely superb. And I'll just do a quick rub on the bottom, because I know the bottom will be correct. Using the 1500 on the bottom. That'll just blend in nicely. Look at that. Absolutely super. Probably need a little bit more there. So the worst thing you can do is take it down to the point where you're sanding the actual rib itself, and then what you're doing is you're destroying that shape of the rib. Yeah. Look at that. That's absolutely superb, that is. I'll buy that. There you go. And how long did that take? What, 3-4 minutes? So there is your finished wing. I've already shown you what to do with the Dumo engine. So I'm going to just offer that up, make sure everything is how it should be. Yeah, that's nicely shaped up. So there we are. So we're going to call it quits there. It's gone on a bit longer than I would have hoped. And I thank you very much. Now, all I will ask you now is don't bother subscribing if you don't want to, but do me a favour, hit that like bell, okay? And I would appreciate that. So that's the end of part 2, and I'll see you in part 3. Thank you very much for your time.
It's time to say goodbye.